Greetings, my name is Cheryl. I'm a silk painter. I've been doing silk painting for about 9 years now. I tried it on a whim back in the day and it sort of took over my life. I found it very addictive. I've been doing this full-time, doing art shows and different things for about 7 years, ever since I moved to Oregon a little while back. And I get asked pretty often about how you learn silk painting and classes and different things like that. So I thought I would make a few videos to nerd out about some of the details and explain what I've learned in working on this stuff. I'm self-taught. I don't have any formal education, but I've just done a lot of research and messed things up in every way possible, which is highly educational. And it's been good fun. So I'm gonna reorient the camera and show a little demo thing of the actual process, and then I'll do future videos to go into more excessive detail, if you want excessive detail, about the different dyes and brushes and resists and all the different things, which you could talk about endlessly. So I hope that's of some use. Okay, bye. Cool. Okay, so here I'm gonna start off. I've got already a little bit of noodly stuff on here, but basically this started as a plain white piece of silk. It's not a super heavy silk. You don't want it too thick because then it takes a lot of dye to soak through it, which makes it harder to get a lot of detail in there. My primary items that I'm working with are my squeeze bottle here, which is filled with water-based resist, so thick enough to keep the color contained, but it's not totally waterproof, so it'll still wash out. It's like a resin mixture, depending on what kind of resist you're using. They make different formulations for silk painting, but it's not wax, so it's a little different from batik here. I get that a lot, like, is this batik? And it's sort of a cousin of batik, but I feel it's also a lot like watercolor painting and how fluid it is, and other types of media can work with a resist as well. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's halfway between watercolor and batik. Anyway, okay, so don't know how well you can see this. I've got some lines on here, but I use my resist here and just squeeze it out to draw these outlines in. Just doing like fluid little leafy patterns. I kind of make stuff up as I go along most of the time. Looks kind of dumb at this stage, but I'll gradually fill in more detail and color and stuff, and eventually it'll be better. Okay, so those are those outlines, and that just gives it that structure. Next up, I have some silk dyes in a little pot. I just get silk dyes in the primary colors, because you can mix them up and pretty much make any color that you like. Color mixing is a whole conversation all to itself, but I like the flexibility of having all the shades. You can get dyes pre-mixed in a bunch of different colors, which is cool if that's how it works, but I like having lots of little variations, and lots of control over those details. Right, so I have a Japanese or Asian calligraphy brush here, a sumi brush, and these have really soft hair bristles. It's like wolf hair and different goat hair, I think a lot of times is maybe the most common one. I don't know, there's a bunch of different ones, but they have really soft bristles and it holds a lot of the dye. And so then you just touch it really lightly to the silk and it expands, permeates the silk and spreads out and stops when it hits the line that you drew. So these lines, I don't have any pigment in this resist, so the lines are just going to be plain white when it dries. So we do that, so it's just lots of back and forth between drawing the lines, filling in the color. There's at no point do I like dip dye this or put color over the top, because if you get any water, dye, moisture, anything on here, it'll mess up what I've already got in place. So it does make this a lot of work, but it also gives you a lot of control over these tiny details. So some people might love that, some people might hate it. Just one of those things. Here we go. I should say also another word that you might hear for the resist is a Gouda. The original Gouda is like a solvent-based stuff made from a tree sap, I believe. which requires dry cleaning to remove, so it works the same way, but it's a little harder to work with, so I think that the water-based is pretty nice. Yeah, so after I finish all of this painting, I'll gradually go in, do all the little leaves here, fill in more details and such behind, and then once everything is all done and everything's filled in, then I'll steam it, which sets the colors. I use dyes, it depends on what kind of dyes you're using. The dyes I use have to be seam set, so it goes in a steamer on the stove top for a while. And then you can just wash it to pull out any leftover color, and it's all good. Other dyes might be set by ironing or a chemical fixative or whatever like that, but I'm just gonna focus pretty much on what works for me. What works for you might be different. No rules. I mean, like any art, it's subjective and whatever feels natural to you. So I'm just sharing my experience, and you know, hopefully that's of use to someone out there in the internet land. So I'm going to do some extra little bits here, because, you know, when in doubt, more leafy things. Anyhow, so I'm going to gradually be doing different videos to really get into the details about dyes, resist, brushes, types of silk, steaming, frames. There's a bazillion little details that are kind of fun to nerd out upon, and toss them out there into the world for anyone else who enjoys nerding out on silk painting. So if you have questions or things, oh yeah, color mixing, that's another one that is just a whole world. Yeah, but send me a message or comment or whatever you like to ask any questions if you have them. And there you go. Later.